Welcome to Cat and Jess Talk the Best, where we're going to be talking about IMDb's top 250 movies from April 12th, 2018. My name is Kat.
And I'm Jess.
And today we are talking about the fourth movie in our Disney event, Oliver and Company, which is an animation adventure comedy film from 1988. This has a 6.7 on 41,451 votes. The spoiler-free synopsis. In this animated update of the classic Oliver Twist tale, Oliver is an orphaned kitten taken in by a gang of thieving dogs led by the cavalier canine Dodger and owned by down and out of pickpocket Fagin. While pulling a job in the streets of New York City, Oliver winds up being adopted by a rich girl, Jenny, and landing on Easy Street. But through a series of events, a loan shark threatens the peaceful new arrangement.
So this is directed by George Scribner. This is the only full-length movie he's done, actually. He's done a couple shorts, like The Prince and the Pauper and Mickey's Philharmagic.
Oh, I've seen that.
And this stars, voice acting wise, Joey Lawrence, Billy Joel. Yes, that, Billy Joel. And Cheech Marin.
And you can definitely tell when Dodger starts singing that it's Billy Joel.
Yeah, you can tell. I'm like, okay, good job there, Billy. Yeah.
And then,
I love Billy Joel. I was like, you're so obvious.
Yeah. And then there are a few people actually in this movie that we have had before.
Yes.
Richard Mulligan, he plays Einstein. And we had him before in Babes in Toyland.
Yes.
And then Bette Midler, she plays Georgette, and we had her before for Hocus Pocus. Frank Welker, he plays Carlo and a couple of other people. Plays quite a few voices.
He's just a great voice actor.
Yes, he is a very good voice actor, and we have had him in 2 movies on our list, and then 3 event movies. So the 2 movies on our list that we've had him, Nausicaa of the Valley of the Wind, and Beauty and the Beast. And then the 3 movies of events that we've had him in, we had him in Gremlins, Aladdin, and How the Grinch Stole Christmas. He did voice acting for all of those. And then we will have Billy Joel on our list for music a little bit later on. And then one more person we will have later on is Robert Loggia. We will have him in Scarface.
We'll also have Cheech Marin also later on.
Oh, I must have missed that one.
We will have Cheech in Lion King. I was like, and I'm like, let me guess. Cheech Marin plays a Chihuahua in this.
Yes, he does.
And I was like, a little racist, but okay.
Yeah, this movie is kind of racist. But that's the thing with a lot of Disney movies that are older is there's quite a few of them that are racist.
This is in the 80s.
Yeah. Quite a few Disney movies are pretty racist, and it really sucks how racist they are. Like,
I was like, okay, like, Dumbo's kind of bad.
Yeah, Dumbo's
I think
pretty
Song
bad.
of the South is probably the worst one.
Song of the South is really bad. What's that other one? I'm trying to think of. Lady and the Tramp. Lady and the Tramp it's got pretty racist stuff in it.
Yeah.
And it really sucks because I love Disney, but they are racist.
It's true.
And I hate it. But yeah, so that's all the actors that we have had and will have coming up. So quite a few that we've had before and quite a few that we will have too.
Yeah.
So ratings for this. On IMDb, 29% of users that rated it at a 7. On Metacritic, this has a 58%. On Rotten Tomatoes, this has a 51 on 49 critical reviews. 2 of the Fresh, Charles Solomon. The cartoon action will delight young children, while older ones who usually reject animation as kid stuff will enjoy their rock songs and hip characters, especially the brash Tito.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say, it does kind of have something for, like, every age group, whereas some Disney movies are specifically targeted towards younger, some are specifically targeted towards older. But this one's kind of got, like, an all-around feel to it. And then the other positive one, Richard Corliss. Oliver and Company is Dickens with a twist and Disney with a treat.
I like that.
That's kind of catchy. And then Two of the Rotten, Gene Siskel. The first animated feature from the new Disney studio regimen, which is promising one such picture each year. The first effort, measured against the Disney legacy of classics, is not up to the highest standard. No, but they do get better as they go.
I was like, this came out in 88. Guess what came out in 89? Little Mermaid.
Yeah, I was gonna say, this new Disney studio, like this new animation studio that he's talking about, is the same studio that gave us all these classics, like Little Mermaid, The Lion King, like those types of movies. Aladdin, Beauty and the Beast, like all of those. So you've got to let them get their feet on the ground. You can't just be like, oh, it's gonna suck.
It's like, it's just because as a Disney aim, it wanted to be like super high up.
Yeah. I understand that, yes, it's a Disney movie, but this is the first Disney movie that this animation studio is doing. So, gotta let it have some time. And I really enjoy this movie, so. So the other rotten one, Rachel Wagner. I was entertained. The music is great. However, sections drag and there are too many bland characters. I don't know what movie she was watching.
I don't know about the bland characters thing, because I feel like they all have their own little personalities because of the voice actors.
Yeah, they let the voice actors do what they wanted with those characters and, like, built the character around it.
Pretty much.
So, I don't agree with, like, that one. Well, I mean, the music is great and I was entertained. I agree with that, but... So, the consensus... Predictable and stodgy, Oliver and Company isn't one of Disney's best, though its colorful cast of characters may be enough to entertain young viewers looking for a little adventure. Well, I mean, it's predictable because it's based on a story that a lot of people already know, so...
It's like, it's a pretty well-known novel, too. Yeah.
Yeah. So, that's probably why it's predictable.
I do love the colors, like, animation-wise. It was like, whoa, those are cool.
So the money for this, the budget was $31 million. The domestic income, $74,151,346. And I could not find anything for the international. So its domestic opening, it made $4,022,752. And its top lifetime adjusted gross, adjusted to 2020, is number 787. So, the awards. This did win one award and was nominated for 3 others. So, Golden Globes, it was nominated for Best Original Song Motion Picture for the song Why Should I Worry? And I mean, you've got Billy Joel singing that song, so I can understand why.
Yeah.
And then Grammys, Best Recording for Children for the entire album there. It was nominated for that. Motion Picture Sound Editors. It did win the Golden Reel Award for Best Sound Editing in an Animated Feature. And then Young Artists Awards. It won Best Family Animation or Fantasy Motion Picture. That's all of the awards. So, initial thoughts.
I've only seen like bits and pieces of this before.
Really?
Yes, actually. I knew one song because it's like my favorite song in the whole movie. It's the one with that Jenny sings.
Oh yeah, I really like that song. I like all the songs.
Love that song. Movie. It's so cute. I don't even know where I heard it, like, but I was like, I love it, and I was like, oh, Oliver Company, okay. Yeah, and so watching this all the way through, I was like, okay, this is very 80s.
Yeah,
very 80s vibe. Liked all like the animation wise, the colors. It just still irks me about the Chihuahua. It still irks me. But yeah, overall, it's a really good cast. It is. I mean, you know, if you know the story of Oliver Twist, you know this movie pretty much, just with animals.
Yeah.
And I was watching it, I was like, oh my god, it's an orange little cat. I love orange cats, because my cat's orange. Yeah, overall, I did like this. It was cute. I will say, yeah, it's definitely not, like, up par, like, you know, up high with, like, the other ones. But again, it's starting things out. So yeah. I can see why. But yeah, overall, I did like it. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't remember when I saw this the first time. I used to watch it all the time when I was little. I really loved all the dogs when I was really, like, all the animals. It was, like, one of my favorite movies when I was little. The animal Disney movies were the ones I really liked, like this one, Lion King. I could care less about the ones with the princesses. I wanted to watch the animal ones. So this one was one of my favorites when I was little. But yeah, I really enjoy this movie. I love watching it. It is a little old, and the animation is not quite up to par, like we said, with some of the other Disney classics. But like we also said, this is when the studio is first starting out, so
it's like it gets better as it goes on. It does. Yeah. I mean, the year afterward is Little Mermaid.
Yeah.
That's considered a huge classic.
Yeah. And I really feel like this should be considered a classic, but I think because it is the first one that this animated studio, or like this animation studio did, is why it's not quite up there with the others.
And also the movie that came a year afterwards kind of overshadows it.
Yeah.
Just a little bit.
But I mean, I like this one more than The Little Mermaid. So.
Well, because it's a princess movie.
Yeah. I do like Flounder.
What about Sebastian?
No, I thought he was too bossy.
And Scuttle. What about Scuttle?
I like Scuttle.
Silly bird.
Yeah. But I really do enjoy this movie. I like watching it. I really love the animal ones, like Rescuers Down Under. I really love all of the animal Disney movies. That's what I grew up watching because I didn't want to watch the princess ones. I wanted to watch the animal ones. So most of the ones that I pick are going to be involving animals, as you could tell with this one and Lilo and Stitch. So that's all I got for this.
Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert!
Alright, that was your warning. If you haven't watched the film yet, then stop listening and come back after you've watched it. So we start off with like the hand-drawn pictures, and it seems like almost watercolor painted. Like, I really like it when they do the watercolor.
Yeah, I thought that too.
I feel like they pulled the watercolor from this, like the success of the watercolor backgrounds from this, and pulled them into The Little Mermaid, because The Little Mermaid is also watercolor backgrounds.
True. But
so we're like, it's a song about New York City, because that's where this is based, and we see a box of kittens, and it says kittens $5, and then eventually it says kittens free, and like people are coming up taking the kittens and everything, and there's one kitten, he's trying so hard, he's little orange kitty, but my mind in this entire thing is like, how many cats did they take them from, because they do not all look the same, and most cats have this, like, their babies look a lot like them, like, unless you've got two completely different cats.
I was like, I would say calicos. Calico moms, when they give birth, there is an array of colors.
That's true. So maybe it was a calico mom. This little orange kitty does not get picked, and this is the part that Sean's like, this is sad, I don't want to watch this. And I'm like, I know it's sad, but you just gotta get past this part.
Just get past the sad cat part, it's fine.
Yeah. It starts raining and stuff, and the little orange kitty is trying to survive, I guess.
Yeah.
And get out of the rain, so he sleeps in a, like, wheel well on top of a wheel. And the next morning, the truck starts up and scares little kitty. Little kitty's name is Oliver.
We don't get his name until way later.
Yeah, he gets named like halfway through the movie.
Like 30 minutes in, I'm like, okay, so I'm just gonna keep calling him Orange Cat for the time being, and call it good.
Yeah, so this is Oliver.
Yeah.
That's his name. He is pretty hungry after he wakes up. Of course, you're hungry in the morning. And so he is kind of exploring a little bit, and he sees this hot dog stand guy go by. And he smells it as well, and so he's like starts following and stuff. But he can't get the hot dogs. Because the hot dog guy doesn't like animals.
No.
And then the screen focuses like across the street, and we see 4 paws walking.
4
like,
little white paws.
Yeah, white and gray walking. And we get to meet Dodger, and he is a white and brown dog. And he's kind of a cool looking dog, I would say.
He's a
got
cool
that,
dog.
Cool personality and everything.
I mean, it's Billy Joel.
Yeah. He sees that the little orange kitty is kind of cornered by these other 2 dogs. Or no, not the 2 dogs, sorry. He sees that the orange kitty is trying to get food from the hot dog owner, and a hot dog stand owner, and so he goes over there and tries to help him. So he gives little Oliver some tips on how to get the hot dogs, and he's like, this is how we're gonna do it. And so he's starts barking at him and chasing him over to the hot dog stand, and they get some hot dogs, and then he starts running. Dodger runs away, and Oliver is upset because he did not share the hot dogs. He's like, hey, half of that's mine.
Yeah, and so follows him this entire time.
Yep. And then we get the Why Should I Worry song. He's like, and this is when you really, really, you could kind of tell before when he was talking that it was Billy Joel, but as soon as he starts singing, you know for sure.
You're like, well, hello, Billy. How you doing?
Yeah.
Because I was like, where is Billy Joel at in this movie? Then he started singing. I'm like, oh, there he is.
Yeah. And it's 10, 15, not even minutes in.
Yeah.
And you find out exactly who he is.
It's like, oh, I know you.
Yeah. And he does a really good job with this song. I love this song. So.
I have to admit, it's so 80s.
It is.
So 80s. Even the beginning song, I will admit, the beginning song, I'm like, wait a minute, I know who this person is. This is Huey Lewis. Mm-hmm. And I know that because of Back to the Future. I'm like, he said this the same thing. So Huey Lewis is like the 80s person to go to.
Yeah. But so, while this song is, while he's singing this song, he's, kind of traversing all over the streets of New York, and Oliver's trying to follow him, and it's just so funny, because they, walk through wet cement, and then kind of wash off in the fire hydrant, and, this is, my favorite part of this, sequence here, and then they're walking over the grate to dry off, and Dodger walks over it, and he's just prancing along, and he's fine. But Oliver walks over it, and he just kind of floats up because he's so small. And then when he lands on the other side, he's just this big, huge orange puffball.
I was like, that's adorable.
Yeah, I liked that little part there. But so the song kind of ends, and we see Dodger. We see these other dogs first as the song is ending. And they're talking to each other. So we've got Tito, Einstein, Francis, and Rita. These are the other dogs. And Tito, like we mentioned before, is this little Chihuahua. Einstein is like this big, like gray Doberman, I'm guessing.
Like a Great Dane, that's what I thought.
Great Dane, okay.
Kind of, because he reminded me of Scooby-Doo. That's the only reason why.
Yeah. And then Francis is like a French bulldog.
Yeah.
And Rita is something. I couldn't really tell what she was supposed to be.
She's something.
Yeah, I don't know exactly what she's supposed to be. So those are the other dogs, and they're kind of talking to each other. We kind of get their personalities a little bit here in this little introduction. Francis is watching TV. And Tito is running around, running his mouth. And then Einstein, he is like trying to brag about what he got. But Einstein's not the brightest. That's his name is an oxymoron.
It is. You're like, he's not that smart.
Yeah. But so they're talking and everything, and Francis was apparently supposed to get dinner, and he didn't. And so in comes Dodger with the sausages, and he's like, "Oh, don't worry about it. I got dinner."
You start telling this elaborate story of how he single-handedly got these hot dogs.
Yeah.
And Oliver's just like listening from up top. He's like, "What? No, it's not. I helped."
Yeah. Yeah. So up top, like on the top of the boat, looking down in a hole, because they're in a boat.
Yes.
In the boatyard. So up top, Oliver is looking down watching because he wants some of the hot dogs that he helped get. So he's watching, and he kind of falls down, and it scares all the dogs off, and they think it's an alien, but then they uncover it, and they discover it's a cat. And he's like, Oliver's like, "No, I followed this dog here. I helped him get these sausages." So then, of course, all the dogs start making fun of Dodger because he's like, told this big, huge, elaborate story about a kitten.
About a kitten. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a good job.
And so they're like, oh, they're all okay with Oliver being there.
They're like, it's a cute orange cat. Why not?
Because they're a bunch of dogs, and dogs are not usually the biggest fans of cats, neither the other way around either.
Well, true.
There are some that actually get along, but
it depends.
Most the time, it doesn't work.
Yeah, it really just depends.
Yeah. So then Fagin, who is their, I wouldn't really say owner, because they kind of do whatever they want. I'll say caregiver.
The person they like to hang out with.
Yeah. He comes back, and he's got a bag of dog food for him and everything. And they're all rushing to love on him and everything. And then we hear the car. Sykes is here. And his two Rottweilers, or Dobermans, one of the two.
It's like, I think these are Dobermans. Doberman Pinschers, yeah.
Okay.
I think.
Yeah, because they've got the pointy ears. Rottweilers have the, like, floppy ears.
Yeah.
So the Rottweilers come down, and they're big and scary, and they're kind of growling and threatening and stuff, and
being intimidating, of course.
Yeah. And we find out that Sykes wants his money from Fagin. And Fagin goes up and is talking to Sykes in the car while the two dogs are messing with the rest of the dogs down there, and Oliver. And one of the dogs is like, I want to eat him. Wants to eat Oliver.
One bite. I mean,
yeah.
It's small enough.
Yeah. I mean, Dobermans are big. They have really big mouths. So, Sykes tells Fagin that he has 3 days to get the money that he owes him, or he's going to kill him. And then he kind of, like, lets him go, and he falls into the river. And so he comes back into the hideout and everything, and he's all wet, and Sykes and his 2 Dobermans have left. And now is when Fagin notices Oliver for the first time.
It's like, oh, it's a cute little orange cat. It's like, well, why not? Join the club.
Yep, so he allows him to stay, and he's, So the next day, the dogs take Oliver out and, teach him a little something about making some money in New York. And so we get a little song about that and everything.
Yes.
And one of the cars that, well, I guess really the first car that they try to pull their stunt on is Ginny's car. And Ginny ends up adopting Oliver because Oliver gets left in the car.
It's like, because Tito went with Oliver to mess with the wires of the car.
Yeah.
And Tito was biting them. And Tito got shocked.
Yep.
And Oliver just kind of just left in there. It's like, oh. And Ginny's like, oh, cute kitty. Perfect, you know.
Yeah, so she adopts him and everything. And Winston, he is her butler, I suppose.
That's what I was thinking, too.
He's like, I don't know if this is the best idea. He's like, I don't know, we should wait till your mom and dad get back to see if they think it's okay. And so she's like, whatever.
It's fine. I do what I want.
Takes him anyway. Ginny is in the kitchen, like, cooking up something. Trying to feed Oliver.
Making up something, yeah.
I don't really know what she's trying to.
She's a little kid trying to make food for a cat that she found.
Yeah. But we also find out that Ginny has a dog already. I don't know if it's specifically hers. It's probably her parents.
Yeah, this is Georgette.
Yeah, this is Bette Midler. And at first, it's kind of off and on that I could hear it. But once she starts singing, that's when I knew. I was like, yep, there it is. I know that voice.
Oh, I recognized her right away, actually.
But see, for me, when I was younger, I just associated that voice with the dog. But then as I, like... No, just in the movie.
So when did you watch Hocus Pocus?
No, that's not what I mean. Like, in this movie, I only think, oh, that's a dog. I don't, like, try to pair it with a person. But then as I got older is when I recognized, oh, that's the same person that did Hocus Pocus. Georgette starts singing her song, and she is a spoiled poodle.
She's a show dog.
Yes. Spoiled rotten. And she sings her little song and everything. And, but she also we get her introduction into her being introduced to Oliver. She's not very happy about Oliver being there.
It's like, excuse you.
Oliver is in her home, eating out of her food bowl, and just, she's not very happy about it.
She's like, none of this.
Yeah. But so then we get Ginny's little song. We kind of get Ginny and Oliver becoming friends and everything. And then in there is where we get Ginny's little song.
Because she has to practice the piano.
Yeah.
And I love this song. This is the one song I actually knew from this movie. I don't even know where I, heard it first. I was like, what is this? It's been years. Years I've known this song. And I'm like, oh, it's with Oliver and Company. Okay. You know.
Yeah, I've known this song for a long time, too. But I knew what it was from. Because I watched this movie a lot when I was little.
And I didn't, so.
But so, we get the little song and them kind of playing in Central Park and, becoming really good friends and everything. And all the while that's going on, they're becoming friends, the other dogs are trying to figure out how to rescue Oliver from this house. So they come up with a plan, and Einstein is, supposed to ring the bell, and Francis is got to distract Winston while the rest of them run in and go get Oliver. And Georgette sees the opportunity here that she can get rid of Oliver. She's like, oh good, he can be gone. Go ahead, take him.
You're like,
Here,
just take the damn cat.
go right on out the fire escape. Why don't you? So they take him and bring him back to their little hideout at the boatyard. And Oliver gets out of the little bag that they put him in, and he's like super upset. He's like, I want to go back. I loved being there. And that kind of upsets Dodger. He's like, well, fine, go. And so Oliver feels bad, and he's like moping up the stairs to leave. But Fagin comes in and picks him up and stuff.
And like he's holding him, and then he sees that Oliver has a little collar on. And it's his tag. Yeah. And he's like, aha, I know how to get the money.
Yeah. So he writes a note. Dear Mr. Very Rich Cat Owner.
It's like, what? Where does that even come from? It's like, oh man, you're just, ugh.
He thinks because this cat has a collar that the person that owns him is rich. And I mean, he's not entirely wrong. She's wealthier than he is, but she's also a little kid.
It's like, she doesn't have the money technically. Her parents do.
Yeah. So, Ginny gets home from school, because that's where she was at when Oliver got rescued.
Air quotes.
Yeah, air quotes, rescued. So she gets home and is asking Georgette where Oliver is, because she can't find him. And so Georgette's like, oh, wherever could he be? Not in the fish bowl. And the fish, like, hides and everything.
She's, like, half-assing it, pretty much.
Yeah. And then Ginny's, like, looking around, and she sees this note sticking out of a little mail slot. And that's the note from Fagin asking for ransom for this cat. And I'm just like, oh my god. Seriously?
She's all sad. She's like, oh, my cat.
Yeah, so she thinks, oh, I need to get my money together and go rescue Oliver. So she gets her, we don't see it, but it's like off screen. She gets her money together, she takes Georgette, and they head following this map that Fagin got down to the boatyard.
And Fagin goes and tells Sykes about this.
Yeah.
And he explains it and everything, and, like, you know, Sykes gives him, like, a warning, like, by sicking his dogs on him and Dodger, because Dodger's with him.
And as he's, like, trying to explain this, and the dogs are attacking Dodger, he finally gets it all out, and so Sykes calls the dogs off, and he's like, alright, you have 12 hours or something like that to get his 12. Money. And so Fagin and Dodger leave, and they're heading back to their little boathouse thing. And this is where we get to see Ginny using the little map, and Georgette's with her. Georgette's not very happy.
I love, she's like trying to figure this out. It's a really poorly drawn map.
Yeah, it's
Fagin's like how did she get out? Like, how did they get lost? I drew the map perfectly fine. Like, no, you didn't. It's like an like a squiggles. Yeah.
It's got a picture of the house and a picture of the boat and then a squiggly line connecting it.
Well, she was smart enough to think, okay, it's near a boat. So go to the docks.
She went to the docks, at least. She's that smart. But so she runs across Fagin, and he's like, well, what's going on and stuff? And she's like talking to him. She's like, I'm lost, and I was supposed to meet somebody here to pay to get my kitty back. And this is all the money I have. She has her little piggy bank. And he's like, oh my god.
He's like, oh, great. It's a little kid.
Yeah. But Sykes is there watching. And he takes her. He's like, oh, I see money here that you didn't think of. I'm gonna kidnap the girl, ransom her, get my money.
Yeah. Like, because Fagin gives Oliver back, He's like, oh, look, I found a cat, and it's Oliver, And Sykes just takes Jenny.
Yeah.
Throws Oliver out of the car. I'm like, well, that's nice of you.
Yeah.
Throw the cat out, jerk.
So then we get this big, huge, chase scene where first Fagin and the dogs are chasing Sykes to go get Ginny back. Well, Oliver's with them too. To go get Ginny back and everything. And then they manage to get Ginny out of the car, but then it's kind of like a fight back and forth between who gets Ginny and stuff. And they're like riding on the railroad tracks, and the dogs fall off, the Dobermans fall off onto the railroad tracks, and yeah, that's no more Dobermans. Well, at least those two. That's what it's insinuating, at least. There's a train coming, and I'm just like sitting there thinking, just jump out of the car, get on the other tracks. There's no train on the other tracks, but it's a cartoon, so they don't think that's smart.
They can't hear you yelling at them, Kat.
I wasn't yelling, I was just thinking it this time.
This time.
So the train runs into the car, but miraculously, everyone except for Sykes is saved.
Bad guy has to go away.
Yeah. But so then, they're all saved and everything. Georgette is scared stiff.
Like, it's a lot of adventure for her. For one day.
Yeah. The next day, Fagin is dropping Ginny and Oliver off at... Well, I guess it's not even really the next day. It's probably a couple days later, maybe the next day. I don't really know. But it's Ginny's birthday party.
Yeah.
And all the dogs are there. And Oliver's there. Fagin is hanging out with Winston. They're watching wrestling on the TV in the kitchen.
And they, like, make, like, a bet, too.
Yeah. And Fagin, of course, dips out on it when he loses. He's like, I gotta go.
It's like, yeah, okay.
And Georgette is all of a sudden in love with Tito. And is, like, trying to groom him and stuff. And just like, first you're gonna get a bath. And he's
well, like
what?
when she first started that insinuating, I was like, oh my god, this is really in a Disney movie?
There's a lot of oh my god in a Disney movie.
That was pretty blatantly obvious. I was like, okay,
yeah.
that happened.
Yeah.
I was like, wow, okay. I saw that like right away. And that was my first time watching this.
Yeah. But that's of course something that goes right over kids' heads. So
yeah, that's true.
it's more of the adult humor for the adults that have to watch this movie. Or choose to watch this movie. Like me.
Like you.
I choose to watch this movie. All the dogs and Fagin are leaving, so Ginny and Oliver are saying goodbye and stuff. And at first Tito is not gonna leave. He's gonna stay with Georgette, but then they're all leaving and he runs out and he's got like this little sailor outfit on.
He's like, oh hell no.
Yeah, so he books. He's like, wait for me! And then the Why Should I Worry song has its reprise, but now all the dogs are singing it instead of just Dodger. And that's it.
Yeah, pretty much.
So the music for this is by J.A.C. Redford. He got started working on James. The movie is called, or the TV show is called James at 16. Sorry. It's a TV show that ran from 1977 to 1978. He is currently working on a movie that's supposed to be out this year. As of right now, I highly doubt that because of everything that's going on. But it's called Right It Is. And right is spelled like writing, like R-I-W-R-I-T-E.
Huh.
Not entirely sure what it's about, but it's supposed to be out this year. I don't know if it will be, because a lot of things are delayed right now because of everything that's going on. So, but he is known for Deep Impact from 1998, Coach from the TV show that ran from 1989 to 1997, and then Passengers that came out in 2016. So he's got quite a wide variety of movies under his belt, composing wise.
Yeah.
But I really like the music in this. I love the songs. I mean, it's only really 5 songs, but they're pretty memorable, I think.
It's very 80s, I will just say that.
Yeah.
It's very, very 80s, like.
Definitely.
But it's enduring. They're cute songs.
Yeah, I like these songs. So yeah, that's pretty much all I got for the music. Like we said, this is based on the Oliver Twist tale.
By Charles Dickens.
Yeah. It's been a really long time since I read that. And I read the kid one.
Yeah.
So I don't really remember it very much.
It has like the right outline, like an orphan, getting caught up with stealing and all that.
Okay.
So it's got like the basic outline of it.
Gotcha.
This is what I can think of it that I remember. It's been a while.
Yeah, I haven't read it in a long time, and I remember reading the kids version. Because, those classic tales, they've got the adult versions and they got the kid versions. I read the kid version, so I don't remember it very well. And it's not even the full story at that. I will have to read it, because I do enjoy this movie a lot, so I do want to see, what the actual comparison is. And if I'd had time and I wasn't trying to read other things for the podcast right now, then I would have read it beforehand. But
I totally spaced out that this was based on Oliver Twist, so I could have read it for you, but sorry, I forgot.
Just forgot. That's okay. I'll read it eventually, because it is one I want to read, So, trivia? You have anything?
Yeah. So, animators usually, have, a model come in of what they're drawing, or, they take pictures. They did take pictures of New York City, of street level at a dog's view. So 18 inches high up.
That's really cool.
So so you see what the dog is seeing, which I think is really a cool effect for them.
Yeah.
What else? This has, so it would just be a pain in the ass just to redo all this, but this is one of the few, animated movies to have the Twin Towers still in it.
Oh.
Yeah.
Because it was the 80s.
Yes. And it would just take too much money and too much time to edit it out. And people actually appreciate seeing them. So.
Yeah. Why, yeah. I'm going to say it's smart to keep it in there. Especially because seeing as how this one didn't make a lot of money. And it's kind of a reminder, not necessarily of the bad things that happened, but the good that came out of it afterwards,
Yes. I thought this was cool. So it's the last Disney classic movie to use this thing called cell overlay, where you're matching the backgrounds to Xerox objects.
Huh.
That's
pretty cool.
That's really cool, animation wise. I think that's really cool. So
Yeah.
it's the last one to really use it. So after this, it changed. They didn't do that anymore. And you were saying earlier, how this one is the first one they really set up just for that certain animation.
Yeah.
There's a lot of still hand drawn, but there's some computer stuff in here.
Yeah.
And so as we start getting further on, you add more computer animation because late 80s computers weren't that great. But
yeah. But getting into the 90s when we've got Aladdin and Lion King and stuff like that, that's when it's more the computer animation rather than the hand-drawn stuff.
Yes. The things around me on a computer, the cars, the buses, anything vehicle-wise.
Okay.
Was animated on a computer. So it was supposed to be a darker beginning, so this probably would have made Sean even more sad.
Oh, no.
So it was supposed to be darker. It was supposed to show that Oliver's parents were killed.
Oh, my God.
By the Doberman dogs.
Oh.
And Oliver is supposed to seek revenge. This is not a Disney movie anymore, people.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
I'm that's not a Disney movie anymore. This is getting kind of dark and creepy.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
What's some good trivia?
It probably would have made him more sad.
Yeah. Sean would have been pretty sad about that. That's some good trivia, though.
Yeah.
So, favorite line?
I don't eat cats, too much fur. This is a classic one. I've seen this all over the place. Isn't it dangerous to use one's vocabulary in one sentence? It's a classic line. And then the other one I like is, the third one I have is, you're a right kid for a cat.
Yeah.
Those are mine.
Okay. A couple of mine are from songs. So my first one is from the first song. It's always Once Upon a Time in New York City.
Oh, that's a nice line.
Yeah, I really like that one because I'm like, I feel like there's so many movies that are based in New York City. So it's just like, if I ever went to actual New York City, I'd feel like I was in like a fairy tale or something. Just because all I've ever done is see movies about New York City. So, movies and TV shows. Why Should I Worry? Why Should I Care? Because I really love that song. I love A Story with Food in It. It's Einstein. He's got so few lines, but when he drops them, they're so funny. What kind of person would steal a poor little kitty? And then, what a delightful scoundrel.
Some good lines.
Yeah.
This is your movie, so you pick.
I think I'm gonna go with It's Always Once Upon a Time in New York City. Because I really love that song, and I feel like it kind of explains my view of New York City at the moment, until I actually go. Because right now I just feel like New York City is just kind of a fairy tale.
I
I've
like
never
that.
been.
I do.
I've only ever seen it on TV, so.
It's like, I would love to see New York City.
Yeah.
Sometime.
At some point in time, I would like to go. So, what is your rating?
I'm gonna go with the 7 on this one.
Okay.
Yeah. It fits well with my 7s, and just like, because I was stuck between a 6 and a 7. And after talking about it and everything, I'm like, it fits more with the 7. It does.
Okay.
It's cute. Very 80s like. Some good voice acting for sure.
Okay. I'm gonna go with an 8 on this one, just because I love watching this movie. I know it's not the best movie. It's not the best animated. It's got some racist things in it. But that's like every Disney movie's got something racist in it seems like.
Yes.
But I love watching it. I love the animals. Like, I grew up watching this because of the animals being like the main thing in it. And yes, it is a musical, but for me, animals having musicals is more believable because I don't understand what they're saying, so how do I know they're not singing?
Unless you've been like hanging out with a certain animal for a long period of time, then you start understanding them.
Yeah, I feel like sometimes Booth does sing out the window when I open the window. So he just meows for like 10 minutes straight when I open the window.
You have a singing cat? I don't have a singing cat.
Yeah, sometimes I feel like he does sing.
I wish
He's not singing to me, he's singing out the window. I don't know who he's singing to, because I tell him nobody wants to hear you, and he just keeps going.
I want a singing cat.
But yeah, I really like this movie. It's enjoyable, so I'm just gonna go right there with my 8s. So, like we said, this is our 4th one in our Disney events. This is the last one for a Disney event this year. So our next event coming up is going to be our Harry Potter event, and it will be released on July 31st. And this time it will be just year 7, so it'll be Deathly Hallows Part 1 and 2. So we'll only have 2 episodes for that one. Just because, we're getting to the end of the Harry Potter movies.
It's like, yeah, and one of them is on our list. So,
yep.
We'll have to mention that.
Yeah. But yeah, so make sure you check out our Harry Potter event at the end of July. We will have our 2 guests back for that, so we'll have all 4 houses represented for our Harry Potter event. Pretty excited for that. We are offering premium and Patreon, so make sure you check that out. Links are in the show notes. Our special episode for the month of April actually came out yesterday. It was Star Wars Attack of the Clones. And I already did the 2 movies that I did not want to watch again. So now it's Jess's turn for her second movie.
Yes.
So make sure you check that out. Came out yesterday. If you cannot support us by becoming a premium or patron member, then you can leave us ratings and reviews. That helps us out a ton. Lets us know how we're doing, as well as helps us get some new listeners. If you want to talk to us, find us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And you can email us. All of the links are in the show notes. Our music is by Audio Binger. You can find him on Facebook, YouTube, and his website, audiobinger.net. Till next time, next week we'll be back with a thing next week, so make sure you check us out then. And thank you so much for listening. Bye.
Bye.